Are you looking to build the best wildcard out there at the moment? Then take a look at this video, as this is the best wildcard you can build. Let's get into it.
Yo, listen up, Rue is stepping up the game, where fantasy Premier League runs in his veins. From transfers to captains, he's always on top, guiding you through every game week non-stop. They say Rue got that Salah flow. Welcome to the channel, enjoy the show. Wild cards, free hits with so much vibe. If you're hunting for success, then make sure you subscribe.
So we'll get started with the goalkeepers. I have gone for a combination of really cheap goalkeepers. So I've gone for Areola and Turner. Areola will probably be starting most games over the next few game weeks. So he has really good fixtures of Forest at home, Burnley away, Palace at home. So really good next 3 game weeks. Even after that, they've got Spurs away, but then they've got Fulham away, Wolves at home. So some really good fixtures there, and I'm hopeful for a few clean sheets from Areola in that time frame. Even with Turner, I guess Forest defense is not the best. Maybe at home they're a little bit better, but Villa at home, West Ham away, Brighton at home, Everton at home, Fulham away, Wolves away. So even then, they're not too bad. So even if there was a time where you wanted to rotate one of them, I think you have really good options there. We'll move on to the defense. So for the defense, I think a Palace defender is essential, to be honest. Yes, you could go Tyreek Mitchell and save 0.1 million, but I did get Mark Gahey for a 4.5, so I've left Mark Gahey in here. But I think Tyreek Mitchell is a good option too. Everton at home, Luton away, West Ham away, Bournemouth at home. So really good next 4 game weeks. For me, Palace I'd say look solid defensively. They kept 5 clean sheets this season. Out of 11, which for me is a really good return. We've seen Tyreek Mitchell get on the score sheet too, so who knows, Mark Gahey could be next. For me though, yeah, I really do like the look of Palace defence, especially now they're starting to get some of their players back. So Eze Elise could be coming back, and they're a different team with Eze. Yes, I'm not sure it does much in terms of the defensive unit, but having your best player back in your team can only be a good thing. So yeah, I think Palace defender is essential if you are on a wild card this game week. Next to him, I've gone for Saliba, another player that I do think I say you should be having. Arsenal's fixtures do look great from game week 12 onwards. So Burnley at home, Brentford away, Wolves at home, Luton away, Villa away, Brighton at home. So some really good fixtures, especially them home games against Burnley, Wolves, and even Luton away is a really good fixture. Yes, if you want to take the risk and go for Gabriel, you could. For me though, I don't think it's worth it. Yes, it's like 0.4 million. Saliba, you're guaranteed starts. Yes, Gabriel did start against Newcastle, so it could be a one-off. But for me, I don't really want to risk that, especially where this wildcard draft does have a bit of money in the bank. So for me, I'd probably want that stability and go Saliba. Next to him, we've got Harry Maguire. So really, this is for the price and for the next few fixtures. So I think Man United's next 2 fixtures at least are some of the best out there. So Luton at home and Everton away. Yes, after that they do have Newcastle and Chelsea, but then they've got Bournemouth. And who knows, Chelsea couldn't even be a tough fixture. Who knows by that point? I think that Maguire will keep his place. There's been a lot of talk about Varane in terms of like not being right tactically for a game, or for me, I think it's a load of rubbish. I think he's fell out of favour with Ten Hag, and I think Maguire will be a starting centre back for at least the next few weeks. And at 4.2 million, even if he does lose his place, it's not too bad to sit on your bench. So yeah, I think he's a very good option for the next 2 weeks at least. And Man United have shown that they can keep a clean sheet, as they did keep out Fulham in the last game week. So the rest of the defense is made up of, I guess, a player from quite a big team. Well, two defensively solid teams. So Liverpool gone for Tsimikas. Yes, their fixtures are not the greatest. They do obviously have Brentford at home, but then they've got Man City away. But then they've got Fulham at home. Then they've got Sheffield United. Then they've got Palace. So that Man City game is a bit tough. But for me, I think having Tsimikas in is kind of a great way to get into the Liverpool defence. Robertson's going to be out until I want to say end of November, December. Having Liverpool starting left back for 4.6, 4.5 million, depends on when you got him, is a real steal, and I think he's a great option to have in your squad. Jamal Lascelles makes up the bench as well. Another player that could have played this game week with a great fixture against Bournemouth away, but for me, I just went for the home option, so that's why he's not in the team. But a great option to have on your bench to come on or to play in certain game weeks. So Bournemouth away, then they've got Chelsea at home, Man United at home, Everton away, Spurs away. So that is a little bit of a tough run-in, I'd say. But for me, I think your defence has plenty of cover, and I wouldn't be stressing about Lascelles' fixtures. So for the midfield, we'll start with Jarrod Bowen, a player that I really do like the look of for the next 4 game weeks. Yes, West Ham's form hasn't been great of late. They've only won 1 in the last 7 games, but that hasn't stopped Bowen from scoring. He scored 7 goals and got 1 assist this season, which is a great return, considering how bad kind of West Ham have been in them last 7 games. His fixtures, like I said, are really, really good. Forest at home, Burnley away, Palace at home. So some really, really good fixtures. And then they also have Spurs away, Fulham away, Wolves at home. So a mixed bag after that. But them next 3 fixtures do look really, really good for West Ham, especially that Forest at home game. And for me, Bowen is on fire, as we know. And yeah, he'd be in my wildcard team. Next up, we've got Mitoma. So a player that I guess a lot of us had at the start of the season, and he still is quite highly owned. Brighton have been as stinky as West Ham, but that hasn't really stopped, I guess, kind of stopped Mitoma from delivering. He hasn't really delivered apart from the last game week, and that was only assist. But the fixtures were really, really tough. So it's Aston Villa away, Liverpool at home, City away, and then they had Fulham at home, which he blanked, and Everton away, which he got an assist. So they haven't won in the last 5 games, so that is worrying for De Zerbi. But with these fixtures again coming up, I think Mitoma is a really, really good pick. Sheffield United at home, Forest away, Chelsea away, Brentford at home. Then they've got Burnley at home. So some really, really good home games there. 3 home games in the next 5, which is what you want from your players. You want them to be playing at home, having that home advantage. And I think Mitoma is a really, really good pick that hasn't, I want to say, hit the heights of last season, if that's fair. Yes, he's got 3 goals, 4 assists, and he's but for me, I think he can do better, and I think these next 2 games are going to be where he shows it. Next up, we've got Bukayo Saka, so a player that I don't want to say has been off form, but hasn't, what's the way to put it? Hasn't had a haul, I guess, since probably the Spurs game in game week 6. Yes, he scored in game week 7. He got an assist in game week 9 and game week 10. But you expect Saka to score every 3 game weeks, probably every 4 or 5, maybe. For me, he is due one. He was carrying that knock kind of a few game weeks ago. It seems like he's got over it. Although against Newcastle, I don't think he showed a lot in terms of attacking goal threat. Maybe assist threat he did, but attacking goal threat, I didn't really see that from him. But like I said with Saliba, their fixtures do look really, really good. Burnley at home, Brentford away, Wolves at home, Luton away, Villa away, Brighton at home. So for me, Saka is probably the best option in terms of midfielder for Arsenal. So that's why I've gone there. You could go Martinelli, save money, but for me, Trossard, just yeah, not for me. I don't want to risk that. And I think Saka should be on penalties. Maybe now Odegaard has been dropped / injured, that he will be on penalties, definitely. So for me, I think Saka is the best Arsenal option, and I think you need at least 1 Arsenal midfielder in your team. Next up, we've got Heung-min Son, a player that has been on fire this season. So I've just mentioned that Bowen has been really, really good. So has Son. He's been pretty consistent, and although the fixtures are, I'd say, some of the toughest, but not the toughest, I think Son can score against anyone, and I think having the team that has been flying, like Spurs have been flying, having their number 9, who is classed as a midfielder, is a bit of a cheat code. So Wolves away next for Spurs, then Villa at home, City away, obviously tough. West Ham away, West Ham at home, Derby, Newcastle at home, which is tough. But after that, they've got Forest, and they've got Everton, then they've got Brighton, then they've got Bournemouth. So it is a bit of a mixed bag. You could argue that you could take him out till game week 16, then bring him back in for Forest, Everton, Brighton, and Bournemouth. But for me, I think he can score against Wolves. He can score against Villa. I can definitely score against Man City with that high line. He can score against anyone. So for that reason, I'm not taking out Heung-min Son. Next up, we've got Salah. Kind of speaks for himself. Yes, the fixtures. Well, I think they're actually okay. It's just that obviously Man City away game, but we've seen Salah tear it up in the past at Man City away. They've got Brentford at home, then City away, Fulham at home, Sheffield United away, Palace at home. So Palace away. So for me, Salah is a must-have in this team. We've seen him tear it up at Man City, so I wouldn't be too worried about that fixture. And for me, I think you can probably captain him in a few game weeks too. Potentially, you could captain him in game week 14. Potentially, you could captain him in game week 12. Potentially, he does give you that option. So for me, Salah is a must-have in the team, and he's absolutely flying at the moment. So I'd be shocked to see a wildcard team without Salah. I'll be shocked to see any kind of active team without Salah at this current moment. Let's get on to the forwards. So for the forwards, we'll start off with the big man, Erling Haaland. Yes, he is flagged currently, ankle injury, 75%, which is not ideal. A lot of us did captain in game week 11 and obviously come off at half time. For me, if he is fit, he's definitely in the wildcard team. There's no two doubts about it. There's no I'm in an R in. There's no shall I, shan't I? He is in the team. If he's injured, then we can have that conversation. But for now, I don't think he's going to be as serious. Yes, he'll probably miss the Champions League game, but I think he will be back for Chelsea away. Having said that, City's fixtures are pretty tough. So I completely see why people might want to take him out if he is going to miss that Chelsea away game, if he could potentially is going to miss any more games. But let's not forget there is an international break after that Chelsea away game. So it does give him that little bit of time extra to get back fit. But as I mentioned, Chelsea away next, and they've got Liverpool at home, Spurs at home, Villa away. So some tough games there. Then they obviously do blank in game week 18, which is not ideal. But for me, I think Haaland is the best player in the game. Yes, he's 14 million, but he's going to score at least 30 plus goals, 35 plus goals this season. And for me, I think he's a season keeper. Sometimes you just got to make simple decisions, and keeping Haaland for the whole season is a decision that I think is actually a no-brainer if he is fit. If he's not fit, then let's have the conversation. But if he does turn out to be fit, then I think he's a must-have in anyone's draft. Next to him, it's a tricky one. So we've got Eddie Nketiah. Yes, he didn't deliver, and he missed a sitter or two, you could argue, against Newcastle. But with Gabriel Jesus being out for, I'd say, a couple of weeks at least until after the international break, at least until I reckon 1 or 2 games after the international break, to be honest with you, I don't think he will be rushed back. I think Eddie Nketiah will start at least the next 2 games for Arsenal. Burnley at home, Brentford away, then they've got Wolves at home, Luton away. Yes, what's a nice way of putting this? Yes, he is wasteful in front of goal. But we've seen, like he did against Sheffield United at home, he can score a hat-trick. He can get on a score sheet. He's got 5 goals, 2 assists this season. He has started 9 games. So I guess there's 7 returns in 9 games, which is not too bad at all. For me, I do think he will be starting if he is fit and Jesus is not. Even if Jesus is fit, I've seen when he was coming back from injury last that he was playing on the right, he was playing on the left. And Nketiah kept his place down the middle. So for me, I do think Nketiah is a good option, especially at that price, 5.6 million. Are you going to get a team as good as Arsenal's striker for that price? I can't really see it. You're looking at people like Solanke. If you can get Solanke, even Solanke could be a bit more than that. So for me, at that price point, even if he doesn't start every single game, so for example, he started 9 and 11. If he starts another 9 in the next 11, I think you'll be over the moon. Even if he starts probably 6, 7 in the next 11, you'll be over the moon at that price point. He can come on and score a goal. He could start all 11. Who knows? For me, I do think he's a really good option, and he will be on this wildcard team. Next up, Cameron Archer. So Sheffield United forward, we did get a goal last time out in game week 11. He's got 2 goals, 1 assist this season. So a player that will probably be sitting on your bench, probably never come on. And hopefully when he does need to come on, he gets a return for you. Nothing really needs to be said about him. He's a starting 4.5 million forward that will sit on your bench. That was it for the wild card. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please smash a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.